Hi there, good morning and welcome to Dronfield Baptist Church this Sunday morning towards the end of August 2021. My name's Andy Evers, I'm the Families, Youth and Children's Ministry Leader here at the church, and I've had a fantastic week. Every year we get together and we do our holiday club service, and we have a week of holiday club with a load of children here. Now we've done it this year. Last year we did it was all online, it was a bit odd, but this year we've done it again, and we had quite a small group. We've only had about 35, 36 children joining us, but we've had so much fun. I just want to begin by thanking all of you who've been praying for us, but especially to those of you who've come along every morning and helped out, or come along on some mornings, helped out with the games or with the crafts, with the singing, with the dancing, with the silly stories, with all the fun that we've had with the technology. It's been a brilliant time. We've had so much fun. The children have been wonderful. And as a team, we've just really enjoyed spending time together and catching up and doing God's stuff together. So a huge thank you to everyone who's been involved. Now, this Sunday in church, we are doing a live service. I am dressed up in church. I'm not fully dressed up today because I'm obviously pre-recording this with my safari hat and my binoculars. So I've been dressed like this with a proper safari shirt on for a few days. But I've also spent a few days this week dressed up as a gorilla. Not a very pleasant thing to see. It was a little bit warm to wear the full fluffy gorilla outfit. Well, this Sunday in church, I'll be there dressed up in my safari outfit, and we'll be doing lots of fun and silly games and a very similar talk to the one you're going to get this morning from me. Unfortunately, as this is transmitted out on YouTube, we have to follow copyright licensing. And we don't have permission to play other churches or other groups' music without their permission. If we've produced it ourselves, then we can, and they're CCLI registered. But unfortunately, we don't have any of our children's songs. So we're not going to be able to engage with sung worship in the normal style that we would. Instead, if you are watching this on a laptop, and I believe on a tablet it will work as well, if you go into the comments section, I will try and link in the comments section to a number of songs. So there'll be a number of pauses during this morning. They will be very short, just so you can hopefully stop, pause me, and open another tab in your browser, and open me again, but go down to the comments or the description section within YouTube and click on the links there. So there's going to be 4 songs, plus with my talk there's going to be a section you can just go and watch, so I'll add hopefully a little bit more into this Sunday morning service. It's a holiday club service. It's very much an evangelistic service, and the opportunity to just spend time with children, get to know them, and invite them and their families into church to find out more about Jesus. So without any further ado, pause me in a sec. We're going to sing 2 songs. We're going to sing King of the Jungle. If you really enjoy it, keep listening to it and learn the actions, but we're also going to do King of Me, which is a Hillsong, not a Hillsong, sorry, it's a Wren Collective song, King of Me. So we're going to go and do those. So pause me and open me up in another browser and try and find those links. If you can't find those links, if you just YouTube King of the Jungle and King of Me children's songs, they should come up. So I'll see you in a few minutes. Cheers. Welcome back. I hope you were able to find those songs. If you can't, then don't worry. Please go onto our YouTube and use some other worship if that would be helpful. I'm not going to be checking up. So how did we do Holiday Club this year? Well, it was the normal mix of crafts and games and stories. Children would turn up at 10. We'd begin with a craft linked with our jungle theme this year. And then at about 10 past, quarter past, the children would come and sit down in the front of church. And we broke the story of Moses up actually into 11 parts. And the 11th part we'll be touching on this morning very briefly. But we've broken it into 11 parts, and we've done a session first thing with some songs, the songs that you'll be doing this morning, and talking about the story, and then showing video clips to go along with that. Then we split the children into 2 groups. One group went into the hall and did a craft, whilst the other group did games in church, and then we swapped them over. They washed their hands to be COVID secure, and we were doing all the safety things with windows open and all the rest of that. And then for the last 20-30 minutes, they come back into church together with us and we'd do the second part of the story and some more dancing and singing and a video. And we've had a real ball. It's been great. So I just wanted to give you a really quick rundown of how we've tried to do Moses in 11 sessions. I can't believe we managed to, so I'll whiz through it. So we began talking about Moses being the baby in the basket and why Pharaoh wanted to kill all of the male Israelite boys, and he was in the basket, and fortunately he got found by Pharaoh's daughter, who brought him up as her own, as a prince. And he must have had some form of knowledge of being a Hebrew or being an Israelite, and knew who his people were, because he saw one of his people getting beaten. They were slaves, beaten by an Egyptian, and he thought he'd get away with it. And he attacked the Egyptian soldier and killed him and buried him in the sand. But later then found out that the Israelites knew this, and he realised he could get in trouble. So he ran away. He ran away from a dangerous situation as a refugee and tried to go somewhere safe. I don't know about you, but resonating with me has been all the crossings over the channel recently of refugees, and some of the media that state that there's more refugees crossing the channel now than there ever have, which is incorrect, because of course during World War One, many thousands of refugees crossing daily, specifically from Belgium, to flee war and flee persecution, which is exactly what the refugees who are crossing, coming into our current country currently are. And of course this also resonates with what's going on in Afghanistan, and people being displaced and needing to seek refuge here. But anyhow, we'll carry on. So he goes to Midian to seek refuge. He meets Jethro, marries Jethro's daughter, who he meets by the well, and becomes a shepherd. I think probably forgets about God, but again, we'll talk about that later on in today's service. Thinks about God, and then God appears to him a number of years later. Is the burning bush, tells him to go back. He doesn't want to. God tells him to. So we ran through that with Holiday Club. He went back, and then there's all the plagues. There's water into blood, frogs, gnats or lice, flies, livestock being sick, boils, hail, locusts, 3 days of darkness, and then finally the Passover, where boys, the eldest male in each family, be that animal, human, dies, apart from those where they've got the lamb's blood on the door. And at that, Pharaoh says, that's it, go, you can leave. And they leave, they get to the Red Sea. Pharaoh's army comes behind them. God protects the people with a cloud, and he goes behind them, and they have daylight to see them across the night, the wind comes and parts the sea, and they get across. And then the people get into the desert and complain. And they complain they've got nothing to drink, so water is provided. They've got nothing to eat, so there's quail provided. They want bread or something like that, so manna is provided. And we've talked through all that today as I'm videoing this on Thursday. And then tomorrow we'll talk through the golden calf. We've been really great. One of the lads who's come along this year knows this story really well, and he's actually going to present it with me tomorrow, Caleb. So looking forward to doing that with him. And then tomorrow afternoon, we'll get to the late morning. We'll get to the point where they arrive at the promised land and the spies go in, but they get scared. And they come back, and 2 say we should do it, and the other 10 are like, no, we shouldn't do it. And we're going to do that, and then we finish there. So Sunday morning, we will have done this recap in the service with videos and with clips with the children, hopefully telling us what to do. But we now get to the point as we end, what happens with Moses? Well, he wanders around the desert because they're not brave enough to go in. They spend 40 years wandering. And around the desert they go, and the people complain and moan, and then they're just a bit daft, and they don't do things right. And then they get to a place called the Desert of Zin, and they complain there's not water. And Moses goes to God, and God says, well, command it from the rock, and the water will pour out. And Moses seems annoyed, and I've read around it. It seems that commentators seem to think that he was annoyed with the people at this. I'm sure he is. He spent 40 years wandering around the desert with them. They don't listen to God. And he actually gets quite angry and hits the rock twice with his staff and says, do I have to command the water out? And the water comes out. But God's like, no, it's not down to you to command. It's me who does it. And you've got angry and you've hit it with a stick. You weren't told to do that. So your punishment is you're not going to see the promised land. It seems quite severe and quite harsh. But here's Moses, who has trusted God all this time. Why does he suddenly ignore God and just do it himself? And yes, he's leading the people. Maybe he should have been better. It's between God and Moses. I may find out one day when I speak with the Lord. But Moses never gets to the promised land. And then Moses dies, and he passes over to Joshua, and Joshua takes the people into the promised land. So there is the story of Exodus, pretty much, of Moses' involvement. Now, you're probably sat there and some of you are going, Andy Evers has gone on a bit. I have. Feel free to jump on YouTube. Hopefully you've got it open and click. Oh, you have. You're looking at me, but another clip. And if you type in the Bible Project, 2 separate words, Bible Project Exodus, they do 2 really good informative videos about it with a bit more depth and a bit more rigor and theology than you'll get from me. I find their videos really good. They do them for all books of the Bible. I find them really useful, and I'm giving away my game and my secrets on Sunday mornings when I come up with these gems, and occasionally people come up and go, I didn't know that. Well, I often steal it from the Bible Projects. Again, have a look at the Bible Project and Exodus. But please pause me. We're going to sing I'm Trusting You, God Hope. This is a song we did a couple of years ago at Holiday Club. We've done it in church a few times, so hopefully it's not a new one for you. So link will be in the description. If it's not, Google I'm Trusting You, God, children's song, and hopefully it'll come up. But I'll see you in a sec. Thanks. Bye. Welcome back. So here we have Moses, and Moses growing up, we don't know how close he was to God. There's option 1, whereby he knew God relatively well, where he knew of his ancestral past. He knew that his mother and his fathers, whose names aren't mentioned, were the slaves, that his parents were slaves, and he knew about them. And I guess if he knew about them, he would want to find out about his family. We all want to belong, don't we? We all want to know where we're from talking to friends who've been adopted, who don't know. They've always had questions, and I think family is quite important to us. So I would sort of guess if Moses knew about his family, he would want to know about their God, know about the God that they worship. Or there's option 2, where there's this Egyptian prince who knows nothing of his family background. He knows nothing of God. He knows of the Egyptian gods, but he knows nothing of his ancestral God. And I think they are the 2 options. So where does that leave us? And I think it leaves us with some sort of quite clear thoughts for me when I've thought this through. There's option 1, as I've just said, whereby he knows who God is. But then what happens? He runs away, he goes to Midian, lives with Midianites, people who don't worship the same God as his ancestors, his people. And he's forgotten about God. But God hasn't forgotten about him. God knows about Moses. God has put Moses in a position whereby he is an Egyptian prince. So when he returns back to Egypt, he is welcomed in and seen as the Egyptian prince. So therefore can speak honestly and directly with Pharaoh. Not anyone else would have that kind of opportunity to meet with Pharaoh, but Moses has that. Moses has known God, but has then chosen not to keep with God until God chooses him later on. I don't know if that's like you. Did you used to go to church, to Sunday school? Did you used to just go to church? Did you have a relationship with God where you and he were close and you knew him? And maybe the past years, maybe the past year with COVID, you've struggled with that relationship. Or you may have put that relationship down and gone, do you know what? God isn't for me. He's not seemingly doing what he promises. You've sort of left him behind, as Moses left him behind. Well, in the same way that Moses left God behind, but God was there wanting Moses. And God is like that with you. God wants you. He loves you. He knows you fully. And you might be there again, but I find this really tough. And we all go through times when we are flying with the Lord and doing well, and times when it's really tough and really difficult. And I'd really encourage you to share that with someone. Hopefully there's someone you know who you can talk with. If there's not, come and talk to me or to Andy Gore or a member of our leadership team. Please speak up and let us know. We try to connect with you as our church and our brothers and sisters in Christ and check on how you're doing. But it's much easier when when you let us know as well when you're struggling. Sometimes we can't tell. I don't know. I put on a really good show that I'm doing fine with God, and sometimes I'm really struggling. And I'm fortunate that I've got a group of guys that I can go to and share that with, and they'll pray and we can chat it through. But I know we don't all have that. So if you've had that close relationship with God and you're not there with him, please come and talk to someone. Speak to one of us. If you don't want to speak to me or to Andy Gore, as I say, someone will lead you. If you don't want to speak to them, then there are people in our church who would love to speak with you as well. I want it to be someone you find comfortable and able to be honest and open with. And I think being honest and open is true. It's tough being a Christian, and sometimes we heap on guilt that we're not doing it well enough, or we've given up and walked away. And what would God think? Well, God thinks that he loves us, and he loves us regardless. And the phrase, he loves us because he loves us, because he loves us. And he doesn't see that shame there. He wants to welcome you in, like a parent welcoming their child, that prodigal son, when he comes home and the father is there and kills the animals, let's have a feast, and just welcomes him home. God wants to do that. So you might be in that position like Moses, where you may have known of God, but you're not there with him now. Or it might have been option 2, where Moses was brought up as an Egyptian and was sort of oblivious to his people, oblivious to where he's come from. He may not have known God at all, and that might be you. You may have heard about Christians. You may have heard about Christmas, seen it on not Christmas, Jesus, seen him on TV. You may occasionally go to church for christenings and baptisms and weddings and funerals, but you don't know him. You know of him. You know what others say of him. You probably know what I say of him, or what other people who don't believe in him say. Well, God showed up big time for Moses and made himself really clear and obvious to him. And sometimes God isn't always that clear and obvious to us. He was for me. If you don't know me, speak to me about how I became a Christian. It was quite clear. And throughout my journey as a Christian, it has been quite clear that God is involved. If you want examples, I went on about this in church a couple of weeks ago. If you want examples just from the past few weeks, come and see me. I can give you firm evidence that God is real. Because things have happened that cannot be consequences. There are consequences. Things that happen that can't be coincidences. They're too remote. And clear things from God. So come and speak to me. If you don't know who Jesus is, we want to welcome you in at Dronfield Baptist Church. If you've been in church elsewhere, you may have been in church at Dronfield Baptist, and been hurt. Well, we're sorry. We are, as Christians, we are sinners. We get things wrong. We try to do things the right way for all in love, and it doesn't always end up like that. And actually, getting hurt by a Christian is the worst way to get hurt, because it really, really hurts, because they're the people you would expect not to hurt you. So if we have, we're sorry. Come and talk to us. We want to tell you about Jesus and tell you about how your life will be totally different. Moses' life became flipped upside down. He came from an Egyptian to a lowly shepherd, to a man who led a nation, and led a nation out of captivity with miraculous things happening. And that huge change from a shepherd to the person who led a whole nation happened overnight like that. Now, I'm not going to say you're going to be leading whole nations. You never know. But I am going to say that the things that God will do in your lives will change your lives, and will change those around you, their lives forever and for good. We really want to share with you about who Jesus is, who God is, what his plans are for you. And I'm not going to do it now. I've been going on for 7 or 8 minutes already. We want to share this with you throughout this coming year. Our holiday club is an opening shop window of this is who we are and this is what we do at church for our families and for our children. We want you we want to extend you an invite to come and get involved. Bring your children to our children's and youth work, but come along to some of our Sunday services. We do an all-age service once a month. We do on the second Sunday a more informal style service at 4 o'clock. We do messy church, and we do fantastic Sunday morning services every Sunday morning at 10:30 here. We'd love to see you and build relationships with you and friendships with you, and and begin to explore with you what it is to be a Christian and what it is that makes us here at Dronfield Baptist choose to focus on Jesus and focus and love our community. We want to love you and share what we class as the good news, a bit cheesy, but the good news of Jesus Christ. So if that's you, get in touch. Andrew Evers at dronfieldbaptist.co.uk or Andy Gore at dronfieldbaptist.co.uk. Jump on the website, jump on our Facebook, get in touch. Good just to meet up for a coffee, talk through what we're doing, share with you what we're doing. You can come and get involved and see what we're like. But I guarantee we will try and show Jesus to you, and that will change your lives forever. We're going to end this morning with me stopping. I'm going to stop now, and I'm just going to ask that you spend a bit of time in prayer. If you don't yet know Jesus, just sit quietly and share with him what's going on in your life. It might seem odd. You don't need to put your hands together, but you can. You don't need to close your eyes, but you can. However you want to do. Just share your thoughts in a time of quiet with God. If you are the praying type, and lots of us watching this are, please pray for those who are watching this for the first time. Those who are hearing about Jesus for the first time, and for those who are hearing about Jesus again and have heard about him in the past, but he hasn't been a significant part of their lives. Please pray for them. Please pray for those in church on Sunday morning with us at 10:30 doing this service, that I will speak clearly and that they will choose to take up the opportunity to find out more about Jesus. And I'd encourage you as church, if you are struggling, if you're finding things tough, please get in touch with Andy Gore or myself or a member of the leadership team. We want to support you and pray for you, and we're open to changing the way we do things and how we do things at this church so we can support you better. So yeah, take time of prayer and then look in the description below, and we're going to have the song Lovely Jubbly, which I know you all know. Feel free to shout out the animal noises. So thank you very much for taking part in this Sunday service. We look forward to seeing you all again soon. God bless. Bye-bye.